Welcome to part 4 of the Temple of Time tutorial. Let's pick up right where we left off. So last time I believe we stopped with this particular phase here. So of course we're going to start at our usual place here, right at the front, and we're doing more tracery for the windows with the light blue stained glass and the calcite, and the diorite for the window frames. Like so. We are going to have a couple of places where we have to fill in these blocks here, though. And then the detailing for the windows on the side. Right here, and then for the detailing here for the tower. I have quite a couple of these blocks to replace, though. We can't have that little eighth of a corner of a block sticking out. That should be stone bricks, like the stairs. So of course all these windows, they have the same pattern. You're just alternating the blocks and then the panes and everything. It's not anything difficult. Be a lot of repetitive work, though. And then I think once we do one of these here, the other ones are going to be just all exactly the same. Alright, so fix that there. The detailing here for the staircase. We'll take another look at that in a moment, though. Quite a few of these blocks to fix. And the windows back here for the Master Sword Chamber. These windows are a little bit more narrow. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure why there's quartz there instead of calcite. I think that these blocks here should be calcite. Not polished diorite, calcite. Yeah, there we go. It should have matched this window frame here. I'm not sure why it didn't. It's another one of those little areas I didn't quite catch, but it's easy to see when I have it all sliced up like this. And I think we probably want to do that here as well. The only thing that should be visible on the exterior should be the diorite. The smooth quartz should be kept for the interior spaces only. But in some sections here, the windows were a little bit of a tight fit. So it was harder to do. I think there's a straight stair there too. And yeah, it looks like I only fixed one of those windows, and apparently I didn't go around and fix the others. There's quite a lot on the to-do list for this building, and I guess I missed a couple of things. So we're back here at the center line. Goes all the way through the back, so you know what to do. Take everything we've just done and do it all again for the other half of the cathedral. Now let's go back to the front and take a look at the interior from the front, so we can make sure we got everything. Of course, we're doing the exterior first, and then we're doing the interior. And never mind the torch placement here. That's just, I didn't strip out the torches from when I made the building. I kind of left them there. Of course, if you're building this in survival, you want to place probably many more torches than what I've outlined here. All right, here we've got the tracery between the little entrance vestibule chapel. Here, not filled with glass, just left open. Of course, we've got the lowest most portions of what's going to be a rib vault up here in this tower as well, with the quartz hanging over a block here in all the corners. Just like so. As for all the pillars, they're all going to have the same design. We got a couple of quartz pillars and smooth quartz around for the rest of them. And let's just quickly slide over those. Let's go back up here, take a look at the windows down the aisle. We got much the same detailing for those, except just half of it, for the pilasters attached to the wall. And I don't know if this piece of diorite back here is visible or not. It may just be a stray block. And then back here, I think for sure we only want to build the visible diamonds. If I quickly look on the next phase, I think that just goes straight up. Okay. Okay, so we can save quite a bit off the diamond budget back here by not building this back there for that. That's going to be a mistake in the materials list, I guess. I must have forgotten to convert the diamonds to something else when I was doing the infill blocks. And I think they've accidentally gotten doubled. So we don't want to be placing down diamonds that we can't see. That's just a waste of materials. We do want to make these, a feature block. I think we've only used them here, and this here is right along the center line. Then we'll go into the master sword chamber. Take a look around here at the patterns of the quartz, the calcite, the tiles, and everything. Right here, let's take a closer look now at the details for the staircase before we move away from that. And let's keep moving on in the room. With the smooth quartz here, we're building the lowest most portions of the rib vaulted tracery in this section. You remember I remarked on this, how it was, it being an octagonal space, it was really difficult to build. So do pay extra attention to this area here. This is where it gets the most messy, I think, and easy to make mistakes. Alright, so here's our central line along the back, and let's take a look now at the pillar design that we have here. Try and swing all the way around. I just don't want to go too fast because these are kind of critical stages back here with this. Alright, so I think that's the first phase for today done. So let's go on to the next one. I think we'll get about an hour's worth of phases in again. Based on how many we've gone so far, it's going to be, I don't know, several. We'll get in as many as I can talk for. So here, of course, we've got a full block of glass, 2 panes on either side for the window, some calcite, some diorite, and a bit of, what is this? Dark prismarine. Forgot what it was for a moment. There for the detailing, over our arches. Just like we did down here for the doorway with this little triangular thing. We're going to be building a lot more of those. Because in general, in Gothic architecture, once you build your Gothic arch, you then want to put a triangular detail on top of that arch that sort of outlines it. Like in most Gothic cathedrals, if you start looking for that particular pattern, a triangle inset on top of a pointy Gothic arch, you'll immediately see that it's just used absolutely everywhere. All right, the detailing here for the windows. And for the structural elements, a lot of space inside the building, but so far not a whole lot of structural elements in terms of blocks for the volume that we're enclosing. Because, you know, that is the key rule of Gothic architecture. Take out as many blocks as you can and replace it with as much window as possible. And don't let the structure fall down while you do that. Didn't always work out that way, but they sure tried. All right, got a lot of dark prismarine projections here. They're the lowest most portions of our sections, of those triangular sections I talked about. Trying to go real slow, although you can pause the video, so I could probably go a little bit faster, maybe get in a bit, an additional phase, I think, if I do that. So these sections here, they're repeating patterns just straight down the side, till we get here, of course, to the dividing wall, where things change up a little bit. But do remember to go slow on the build. I'm pretty sure I said somewhere this is an 11 out of 10 on the difficulty scale. So just take your time and do it one block at a time. I've done the design for you. You just have to either copy it from the video or use the world download and Litematica or some other particular mod to help you, if the video alone is insufficient. Alright, so here we have some quartz visible again. That should be diorite. Remember what I mean, diorite. That should be calcite that we changed last time here. That window should match this one. And here again, make that calcite. And these blocks here, calcite as well. Now, this was kind of hidden underneath the diorite arches, and it's a white block, so I can understand how I missed that, but in my defense, the building requires so many details and layers and things. It's easy to miss something like that. All right, so here we are back on the center line. So we've got to do everything all over again for the other side of the cathedral. So let's go back to the front. Take a detailed look now at the interior spaces. So here's where we started. And here's the quartz on the inside. Notice we've got quite a few overhanging blocks in here now. Some of these are going to be forming the bases of the arches that go down this way. Others are going to be forming the base of the rear vaulting. All right, so here's the design for this. Once you do one of those, you want to do 1, 2, 3, 4 more on top of the pillars there. Take now a closer look here at the vestibule chapel. at the overhanging quartz there and there. Do all 4 corners in here exactly the same. And then out here, of course, we have the detailing for what's going to be the arches and the rib vaulting for the pilasters. We technically finished the pilasters. Now we're working on the arches and the rib vaults. These blocks here will be the arches, and these 2 here are going to be the bottoms of the rib vaulting. All right, so that's a repeating pattern, just all the way down till we get to the wall back here, where of course we've got the tracery superimposed on the wall here. Just like so. And of course we don't want to build those blocks back there. Save yourself some diamonds. You can just put, if you are building this hollow, it doesn't matter, but you can just put any block back there to fill that. All right, so here's our center line. So let's take a look now at the interior details for the Master Sword Chamber. All right, we note some lapis there. We've got our first bits of lapis appearing. Actually, I think we had some on the last phase too. All right, here, let's pause right here and take a look over here at the detailing for the stairwell. You can see the stairwell was not the tightest fit thing, but it was rather circuitous to find a route that would wind up through the structure. Because in general, I will sometimes forget and leave things like stairwells to the last bits, and then that causes problems. Note the floating quartz blocks here, by the way. And here we are on the center line. Let's take a look now at what's on top of the columns here. For consistency, let's try and go clockwise around this. I know it looks like a mess of blocks, but it's the lowermost portions of the messy rib vaulting that we took a look at in the tour video. So if you recall how that was, we're now to the portions where we're very carefully building it. And this is one of the portions that took one of the longest times for me to do, because this is one of the things that you kind of have to place blocks and then look at it for a bit, and then break blocks, place them again in what you think is a better position, stop and look at it for a while, and then repeat that process several dozen more times before you get to something resembling a final product. And it all had to be done. It had to be done by hand too. No copying, pasting back here, really. Maybe a little. So that's I think that's all the damage we can do to that phase. Let's go on to the third one for today. All right, let's start back here at the front again at our window. Of course, we've got our diorite and our cut copper. Pairs very nicely with the dark prismarine, I think. And then here for the windows. And then the detailing for the tower. All right, now we have the repeating modules for the windows and the supports and everything on the outside here. Repeating pattern all the way down until we get to the dividing wall. And of course, these blocks here should be calcite. Bit of gold ore here on the exterior now for some decoration. It's the old texture. It's my favorite. I think it has more sparkle. But the new one will work just as well. We want to replace that quartz there with calcite. Replacing those there as well. And all along the back. So it looks like I fixed one window, how it should be, and then somehow I forgot to do all the other ones. Alright, so here we are at the center line at the back. Do everything again for the second half of the cathedral, and we will go back to the start here and take a look at everything from the interior. Alright, note the floating quartz blocks here. We got 4 of them in here as well. Because these are the rib vaults. Or rather the ribs inside the vaults. That make that little X shape. Alright, before we go on from there, let's take a look now at this module here. And once you build one of those, you want to build 1, 2, 3, 4 more of those. Right on top of there, and we'll go back here. And take a look at the detailing. Note the floating quartz blocks. As we go, and just repeat the pattern till you get all the way down to the wall, where we turn and do more of the tracery for the wall. Overhanging quartz block here. Don't build those diamonds back there. I think that's because I originally inset this pattern and made it flush. But I realized later that it would look better if I pulled it a block out, and I guess I forgot that I did that. So it's a little late to go back and edit part 1. Or the materials, sorry. But I suppose that's good news. You'll need fewer diamond blocks than you thought. And you can invest the extras in perhaps another building that we might build in the future. Alright, note the floating calcite here. Let's pause here for a moment and take a look at the detailing for the stairwell. Alright, note the floating quartz here. And that brings us back to the center line. So let's now take a look here, going clockwise around all three of these. I know, it looks like the most random assemblage of blocks, but trust me, there is a pattern that will emerge as we get them all constructed. And now taking a look at the third one, it mostly follows the same pattern. Just rotated 90 degrees, I think. And I think that that's all I can say about this phase. So let's go on to this one here. All right, starting here at the central window, block of glass, calcite, diorite, gold ore, cut copper, dark prismarine. Just like so. Detailing here for the windows by the tower. And here for the repeating patterns of the windows going down the exterior of the aisle. All right, here we are at the wall. The separating wall between the main chamber and the Master Sword chamber. Here again, these blocks should be calcite, as should these and that window there as well. And of course the one around back too. All right, there's our central line. And, ooh, it's getting rather messy in there. So do the same thing, of course, for the other side of the cathedral, according to the plan that you already placed out for the first one. And we will come back to the front and take a look at everything again from the interior. Alright, note the overhanging quartz again. This is where our ribs are coming up here, and they're going to meet a couple blocks higher up, somewhere around here. So this can be a difficult phase, I think. So we're going to have to go extra slow as we do it. All four corners in here just the same. Let's take a look now at the arches on top of the columns. Right here, just that same pattern. Then you want to repeat that pattern again for 1, 2, 3, and 4 more times to get down to here. Let's go back to the start. Taking a look at all of this here, just really slowly and carefully. Here we are at the wall. And then, of course, the detailing back here. For the diamonds, we got our first little diamond pyramids complete to form our big Triforce emblem. Mark our center line. Let's take a look now at the second chamber. This is going to be the most difficult. We're getting to this phase now where we're having to have quite a few blocks overhang each other. I'm going to have to go extra slow around through here. Let's pause right here and take a look at the detailing for the stairwell. Alright, then for the moment, let's get a top-down view on this entire sequence here. So you can see this is the level where we're really having all our arches come together and all of our ribs start going to the central point that they're going to meet at. So it's quite a lot of detail work. This is going to be a difficult phase. So if you get if you get frustrated, it's okay to take a break and come back to it later. Just go real slow and do the best you can. All right, note the all the different blocks here. And that's where our center line is there. So we need to go back here and take a look at this section now on top of the columns. They're just about to all touch each other, probably on the next phase, the one after that, so we won't be able to take a look at them individually anymore. We'll have to take a look at them as a unit. All right, and the third one here. And then just take your time and mirror everything on the other side of the center line. In fact, this may be one of these phases where I'm going to do. We're just going to take a quick look at the other side of it. Normally, it's pretty easy to mirror things, but sometimes It may help to have this perspective also. Alright, let's go on to this next phase here. Finishing off our windows here with the last little bit. We finished off the glass. Now we're putting a last little bit of calcite right there. And of course we'll be completing our arches fairly shortly as well. Over here working on the tower again, the side towers. The exterior phase isn't that complicated at the moment compared to what we're doing on the inside though. Alright, so here we are at the dividing wall. And yep, we want to replace that with calcite, of course. I think that should be the top of that window frame, so we'll hopefully get all that fixed on this this phase. There might be another one up there. I'm not sure yet. And oh goodness, behind that you can see you can see the mess we're about to deal with back there. This is why I've been dreading doing a Gothic Cathedral tutorial for quite a long time, because it's going to be difficult to follow, even going one slice at a time and going as slow as I am with it. Let's see. I think that's our center line at the back here. So let's go back to the front and take a look at all this glorious madness from the interior. So here I think we're pretty much at the point where we can have to stop taking a look at these individually. So I'm just going to go down the nave here, and you can see we just have the simple repeating pattern with the quartz to outline our pointed Gothic arches. Right there, and of course we have a bit more of extra diamond right there for our central section. And now let's fly back down here and take a look at this here. We have our rib vaulting getting ready to reach its conclusion here. Finish our tracery there, separating the entrance vestibule chapel off. It's just meant to be a little screen, what it is. And then over here in the side chapel, all this refilleting quartz and everything there. Take a look at that from below. And then let's go back here. I'll try and... I think maybe this is probably going to be the best view of it. I'll just go down through here real quickly, and then we're going to double back and take a look at it a bit more closely. Drill down a little bit more closely. All right, so once we do one of those, that's just a repeating pattern again here for this one, that one, this one, and that one. And let's take a real quick look here at the stairwell. Easy part for the stairwell. Let's take a look here now at the second chamber on our center line, right there. And we have to go extra slow with this here. I'm going to try and look at it from as many angles as possible to give you what you need if you're only using the video. All right, so we can see now here where it's connecting. So we have to swing around back here and take a look now at this sections, which we were taking a look at these three in isolation, but now that they're connected, we have to take a look at it as a unit. All right, so let's pause there. Swing around through here. Building our arches right here on top of the columns. We'll just take a look at that first. And then let's swing back around here and take a look more closely at the tracery along the aisles. Or rather at the vaulting along the aisles. It's going to be difficult, but just go slow, one block at a time. And try not to fall, because we're pretty high up now. All right, so here we are along our center line. So I'm going to back up a little and take a look at the entire sequence from the top down so we can double check ourselves before we move on. Use, of course, the filler blocks here to help you count out everything. That should serve as a useful check on whether you've got the blocks in the right places or not. And I'm going to swing around and look at the right-hand side as well. Just because of the extended difficulty of this particular phase. And let's take a look at that also going down the aisle, even though I don't think you're going to have any trouble with this section as much as the octagonal one at the back. right. Well, that was difficult, but I think we've got it. So let's move on to the next phase here. Diorite and gold ore, right there in the middle. And because of how the windows got squished together in this corner over here, I wasn't able to do a full triangle over the window with the copper. So I had to make the best I could out of that situation. It was one of the many difficulties and problems I had to solve in building this particular structure. But I've worked all of that out for you, so. But I think as we go, you should be able to pick up on some of the more difficult sections and maybe some of the solutions I found. For that, you might be able to learn and apply into your future builds. At least that's my hope. I'm not quite sure why I have the extra stairs right there. I'm almost sure that shouldn't be there. And it should be built like this instead. Because that's how all the others are done. I have to see what that looks like. In fact, let me pause here for a moment and fly over to the next phase. Why was that done that way? There may be a small error in the walls. Let's keep an eye on that. For the moment, build everything according to this pattern. And we'll keep an eye on that and see if that needed to be there or not. Gothic cathedrals are so ornamented that it's easy to miss little things because there's just so many layers of detail you have to put on these. So we're finishing up the arches on the back here with that last little bit of diorite. It's like so. I think perhaps no. Okay. So we don't have to put any more calcite in there. We fixed all of that problem. And then here's our center line. So let's fly back to the front and take a look at all of this from the inside. Pretty easy on the inside at the front here. We're capping off all our arches with their keystones there. And then just straight down the aisle, or rather down the nave in front of the aisle. We are finishing off all of these arches here, all the way until we get down here, and then we can turn the corner and save some diamonds and continue building our Triforce emblem. Now let's go back to the front here and turn the corner and take a look here at the pattern for what's going to be the top of the rib vaulting. And this is a little bit more self-explanatory. I don't think I need to drill down on this one too hard. But let's take a look at this from below, though. Because we do have some upside-down stairs here in the middle. Right there. And I think all of these are going to have that as we go down the aisle, yeah. So all of those there, you want to build according to that pattern there with the 4 upside-down quartz stairs. Just like so, all the way down. And the detailing here for the stairwell. And I think we can just go ahead and go into the second chamber here. Like so. In some sections it's going to be a little bit difficult, but for the most part you can see where we're starting to cap off a lot of it. The last section we did with all that vaulting was probably the most difficult one I think we're going to have in probably the entire temple, I think. Alright, so these are a little bit more isolated, so let me just take a top-down view of that. You can use the filler blocks to guide your placement. Let's take a look at the whole thing from the top down first, and then we'll take a look at it more closely. Alright, let's take a look at it more closely. Just like so here. You can see how that fits in relation to the stairwell. And once you get that one set, you can use its placement to help you with the next section, which is pretty straightforward. And then extend that on to this next section over here, which is a little bit more difficult. And then this section here at the back. I think that's along our center line. All right. So let's continue on to the next phase. It's going to be a fairly easy phase, I think. So here at the exterior, more gold ore and everything. Pretty easy detailing. I think I can go a little bit more quickly over this to save us some time. Right here, and I'm not sure these blocks should be here at all. That may be from an earlier version when I was trying something different there. I'm not actually sure about that. Let's build it like this for now, and keep that other one in mind. And right here along the exterior of the second chamber. And here's our center line. So let's fly back all the way to the start and take a look now from the interior. So we've got a kind of a cornice of upside down quartz stairs here in a big rectangle. It's going all the way down the room, except for here, of course, where we're putting our Triforce emblem and our arch. Right there. So let's go back down here and take a look at this. We're capping off now all of the rib vaulting that we previously did. So you want to place everything according to this pattern here. I'm not sure why this is here. This might be for a doorway. So you probably want to build that just like it's done. Right here for the, let's take a look at that from below. We have the glowstone right up here in this block. And of course that forms part of the hidden lighting. Right there to cap off all of our rib vaults. So once you do that and put your 12 blocks of lapis and your 1 block of glowstone, all of the rib vaults below that for the aisles will be complete for that section. And here we have some detailing for the stairwell. Let's go now into the second room. Mark our center line. We're going to have the same detailing of the upside down quartz stairs here. Let me just first take a look at that from below. And then we'll take a look at it from above. Right there. And now from above, we are also finishing off, we're capping off all that troublesome rib vaulting that we've been building back here for the octagonal aisles with that pattern there. And then back here as well. And that's along our center line, but for the sake of completeness, I'm going to look at this section also. Just so we can make sure we've got it all on the same page. Alright, I think that's all there is to take a look at. Let's now take a look at what should be the completed rib vaulting from below down here. As you can see, it's quite a mess to build. But when you stand back and look at it from a distance, you can see, I hope, the patterning of the ribs in this. These have 5 ribs. Just how it kind of had to work out with connecting everything together. Whereas the ones we built down over here, these all only had 4 ribs. All right, let's go ahead and do another phase. I can keep going for a little bit. So over here, we've got a bit of gold right here along our center line. And a bit more diorite back there. I think that's going to be the lowermost portions of the next couple of small window frames. Alright, I'm really not sure why. Either this is the right one and all those other ones are wrong, or those are wrong, or rather, or those are right and that one's wrong. Well, let's keep building it like we have it now, and if we need to make a change later, I'll stop and do some in-depth explaining about that. Because those should all be the same design. I don't know why that one there is different. Alright, so we have, I think now we're actually putting the lowermost portions of our roof on back here. Like this is all this, I should go back here. This is all of this, this dark prismarine and copper back here. You do want to put in that because we're now building the lowermost portions of our roof on this section. We're already up to the roof. Well, the lowermost portions of the roof anyway. Of course, here's our main wall. Let me turn around there. And of course, the roof level occurs at the same height on our octagonal section here for the second room. And we can see behind that we do have some wood now, and those are going to be, of course, the structural beams that help support our roof. We'll take a look at that from the interior. Let's just get the exterior nailed down first. So that's where our center line is going to be poking out. And let's fly back to the start and take a look at now everything from the inside. So we've got now back here. Oh dear. We've got quite a few of those. Those blocks shouldn't be visible. I think that down here we should be replacing that with probably a bit of calcite. Yeah. And is there going to be some back there? There is. Okay. And we want to put some extra calcite back there. And looks like that's going to occur all the way through the building. Below those, isn't it? No, it only occurs at the front here. And these, of course, are just the safety railings for the triforium, because we do have a fully walkable triforium up here in this section. In fact, we finished the first level of the arcade down here. From the bottom, we started all the way back in part 2, I think, for that. Maybe that was part 1. I don't remember. And this section here, where we have the upside down cornice here, that represents that module complete. And now, from this section on up for several blocks, we're going to be building the triforium level, is what it's called. So let's go down here. It's a pretty simple repeating pattern. In fact, looking at it, when I said to use the calcite, maybe we should have used the deep slate tiles for the front, underneath the stairs and everything. And it's not a huge deal. And with that last diamond block there, that's going to be our Triforce emblem. All done and dusted. And I don't think I used diamond blocks anyplace else in the cathedral. Maybe I did. But that's definitely all the diamond blocks we have in the central section here. So behind that, you can see that we are rolling out the red carpet. See, red carpet. And we're putting it down here. And these sections here, we have these little extra rooms. So I had some space here, so I just decided to put in an extra room. Back here in the triforium, just right there. And back here we have this little hallway that leads up to this little stair, which takes us up to the private chapel that is up in the side towers. So this is just a straight run of carpet and quartz. I don't think it requires too much explanation. I'm not really sure why that's hollowed out behind there. Not really sure. That should probably just be filler blocks. That may be something I missed. Over here we have, of course, our stairwell that we've been building. Now ends here, and this is how we get up to the level of the triforium with our little half doors and everything. Here we have the next section of the stairs that bend and turn up here. And I believe this is going to be taking us up to the attic sections that we'll be building. Not today. That's going to be a couple of more parts where we get all the way up to that. But let's stop and take a good look at this here. Right there, and you can now see we're just bending the quartz around in an octagon, following the patterns and everything. Just take a look at the oak beams back there first, and then let's take a look here at the railing with the quartz slabs and stairs and everything. Just a little bit closer right here. All right, so let's take a good look at this whole sequence from the top down, I think. And I mainly used the red carpet here because it was a really tight fit to put the triforium in and not have it clip into the vaulting that we finished on the previous phase there. As you can see, the carpet is just sitting directly on top of some of the vaults. So in order to make it walkable, I had to cheat a little bit with some carpet instead of putting down a stone floor or something up there. But that's going to be as much as I can get through today, so I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time in part 5.